Good evening, friends. Yes, it's nighttime, and I'm reviewing a pocket knife for you that just landed in my hand yesterday. I have not been able to put it down, just like I cannot wait until tomorrow's sunlight to show it in front of the camera because I am so excited. I am so excited, guys. This is probably the most anticipated Spyderco design in years. I could only think of the paramilitary too when it comes to excitement and anticipation for a lot of the Spidey heads. Yes, I'm one of them. I think everybody that's looking into designing a pocket knife that's lightweight and has a lot of reach should stop what you're doing and look at this design and examine it, study the design. Okay, so some quick overall thoughts before I dive into details. This is the Spyderco Stretch 2XL, announced recently by Mr. Sal Glesser and some of the online spaces. Um, Here it is. Here it is. When I guess the weight, if you don't know it already, is 2.7 ounces. Yes, I'm starting with the weight. It is 2.7 ounces, guys. Okay, for comparison, a similar knife in size and weight is the Broken Skull from Cold Steel. It's 4 inches on the blade. It's about a millimeter and a half, maybe two, longer than the XL, the Stretch 2 XL. Yet it's a little bit heavier, 3.1 ounces versus 2.7. Okay, I don't have anything else as light with this reach. I just don't. Okay, so this is a necessary design for me. Okay, the Stretch has been a staple in my collection ever since I discovered the high quality models from Spyderco. It has been. I've gone through several iterations. I recently reviewed the G10 version versus the Stretch 2 in ZDP. Here's the G10 version. Okay, I say necessary because I'm just in love with the handle ergonomics that the Stretch brings. It's like having a Spyderco military, okay, with a similar, almost identical blade profile, a little bit thinner, 3 millimeters versus 3.7. But look at the similarities with the military, guys. Look at that. Yes, my blades are a little dirty, guys. I use them daily. I cook with them every day, and I do some kindling prep as well in the backyard. Okay, but 2.7 ounces, almost half the weight of the military. Same blade length, about the same. Okay, no, it's not as rigid. We'll go to that, but I just wanted to show you the military and how it compares because, interestingly, they are very similar. Look at that, straight spine, precise tip. Okay. All right, so blade design and execution. This is probably the highlight of the Stretch. Other than the handle ergonomics, the Stretch always gives you an aggressive distal taper. Okay, so anything penetrating, cutting doing any utility work, reaching into hard to reach places and pulling and cutting with that belly and that precise point has always been an enjoyment with the Stretch series. Now, check these out. You no longer have the graceful lines, the hunting influence lines of the Stretch, right? So you're losing that with a straight spine. Uh, okay, it's a bit of a departure in that sense. Not in the handle as much, but the blade profile it is for sure. So you no longer have the friendly silhouette of the Stretch. You're now perhaps jumping into some more militaristic looking offering here, which is fine. It's good variety. Okay, execution of the blade grinding job, it's flawless. I don't detect anything that I don't like particularly. It's extremely sharp with a good relief edge. Actually, the bevel here seems a little bit longer than on this side, if you care for those things. As long as it's sharp and I have a decent relief bevel, I'm okay. But perhaps you'd expect a little bit more precision in this side, right? The military doesn't suffer from that. It is VG10, made in Sakai City. From a lot of cutting for the past 24 hours, I have lost that razor popping edge. I actually did some kindling prep with my son today using this blade alone. I didn't baton, I just feathered for a while, for 10 minutes, and I did lose some of that hair popping sharpness, so that I no longer have. But nevertheless, I was able to cut some ripe tomatoes a few minutes ago, and it was still sharp for that. Okay. Right, back to the blade profile for a moment here. Um, so VG10 is getting a little old. It has been getting old for some time now. Um, on this excellent platform, I would have loved to see a sexier steel like M4 K390, like we have on the Police, like I have on the Police. You guys may have that steel in other blades. This is what I have. Good time to show you the size differences there. Much more handle on the Police, but look at the curves in the back of the Stretch 2 XL, guys. Oh my goodness, I'm so excited about this blade. I really am. Okay, so VG10, I know Mr. Glesser, Eric mentioned that this is just the platform. They're going to probably release the design in different steels, which is fine. It's just going to cost us more money. I may need to let this one go and upgrade. We'll see how that goes, depending on my intended use for that I'll have for the design. But VG10 for now, it's competent. It'll do you well unless you cut wood, and anything super hard is going to leave you wanting a little bit. Okay, so how's the action and the centering? First, the centering, pretty decent, pretty decent. A little bit off center there. Action, let's take a look. Yes, it'll flick open. Okay, without too much wrist action. Okay. Quite a lot of resistance on the backlog. It may need some grease. Okay, as you know, that gets well better with time, but it's not very smooth, to be honest. But it feels rigid. It feels rigid and solid. Um, Obviously, once it locks in place. Okay, so how's the backlog action? So how's the lock up? Well, Spyderco has been enhancing their backlogs over the years. This is now your Endure and your Delica backlog, where you have quite a bit of up and down play. At least you used to have that. I haven't had one of those models in a while, but a few years ago, like 8 years ago, maybe 7, they would have this play here. This knife is more expensive than those, but I believe it's using the same backlog as in the Stretch 2 G10, because there's no movement on this one, and there is none on this one up and down, none side to side, just there's a tiny bit of side to side, but very small, none up and down, which is typical for backlog. So there we go. Quality improvements from Spyderco in the backlog. It's perfect, perfect. The Kali 3.5, which is my all-time favorite pocket knife, does have up and down play. This does not. Okay. Good tension when closed. All right, so let's go to the handle, because that's really a trademark of the Stretch series, right? So the handle it's where it's at, guys. It really is. Look at this awesome finger choil. This is home right here. You have a finger guard. You have the typical Stretch swells everywhere. Yes, the beak is not the same as the old Stretch in FRN, but it feels great. It feels great. The fact that you have rounding on the sides of the FRN means that it's more comfortable when really gripping it hard. Okay. I have large hands, and as you can tell, I have plenty of room to go up here and rest on the ramp, and I still have handle left at the back. If I come down, my ramp is now a little bit of a stretch. It's no longer a stretch. It's no longer naturally resting on my thumb, but this tells you that you have options. You have options, even with gloves. Someone with large size gloves will be fine with this much handle length. Okay. Now, a couple of things about the handle. No steel liners. That's why we have 2.7 ounces. Looks like the FRN has been aggressively milled for weight savings and probably rigidity considerations. Okay. Notice how the screws have been tapped into the FRN. I do not detect any steel inside, so maybe it's important for you for ultimate rigidity. It's not G10, there's no metal underneath, so keep that in mind. All right. Okay. So there's a trade-off for what you're getting for that lightweight, that and the length. That's the trade-off that they decided to go with, and I welcome it. If you want steel liners, get something like this. Okay. Yeah, you got plenty of options from Spyderco and all the other makers if you want that ultimate rigidity. But if you want an excellent outdoor backpacking blade, camping pocket knife to keep on your person and feel somehow protected, somewhat protected, with a 4.4 inch point, 3.92 actually to be precise, blade length that fits in your pocket with an excellent pocket clip, super strong. I mean, this is one of the strongest that I've seen in this platform. It's amazing how they got it so strong on FRN alone. So there we go. Let's show you some size differences, comparisons with other blades. I already showed you the stretch in G10. I showed you the military. Let me show you the Pacific Salt, the highly modified Pacific Salt in H1. Feel free to ask any questions. Hope you liked it. Thank you.